The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys! This is Talkin Cowboys. Streaming live from the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star in Frisco.
First down. Handoff, Elliott plowing to the goal line. Barry, sacked by Lawrence. Prescott keeps it, and he bangs it in for the touchdown.
And now, your hosts, Isaiah Stanback, Patrick Walker, Rob Phillips, and Kyle Yeomans.
It is a beautiful Thursday edition of Talkin Cowboys presented by Black Rifle Coffee Company here from the Star in Frisco in the SWBC studios. Today we break down the Cowboys offense against the vaulted Rams defense. Should be a whole lot of fun. What was it?
Vaunted. You said vaulted.
I said vaulted?
That's whole
I
vault.
didn't mean to do an L there. I have a new tray in here. Didn't really work out.
Okay.
But yeah, we're previewing
Thought you were
that.
slacking on your Black Rifle coffee, and
That
you hadn't
also
you
true.
hadn't caught up yet.
That is also true. It's a double dip. I literally just closed the cup of, or like the lid on top of this coffee.
Are you a double dipper?
Huh?
Are you a double dipper?
What are you talking about?
Is that a
It's a double
Seinfeld
dip.
reference?
Do you double dip?
Seinfeld reference?
Into salsa?
Yeah.
No.
No.
Why would I ever?
You said
If it's by myself, yeah.
You took the chip, you dipped.
dipped.
You bit, and then you dipped again.
That's a great episode.
Seinfeld reference.
Do you guys double dip?
No.
Only when I'm by
Once you
myself.
dip, you get enough to satisfy.
Only when you're by yourself, which is
satisfy
fine.
that chip, and then you go
I don't even think that's counting as double dipping.
You don't
if you're
double dip when you're by yourself?
When I'm by myself, and depending on the person I'm, significant other, wife, yes, yeah, it's okay.
I'm not double dipping with anybody.
Yeah.
Nobody,
Nobody.
not wife, kids.
I don't double dip even when I'm by myself, but I will do the final scrape. I mean, like if you're by yourself.
You're going to edges?
Yeah, I'm going. Oh, yeah, that final chip.
Now,
you
my
got to
wife
get it
does that.
all.
I'm not.
You gotta
I
get
just
it
go
all.
get some more.
No. Okay.
See, okay, all right.
Okay, Your
It's
Highness.
the second time in a row. Like yesterday, you're like, oh, I don't need the money. I don't need to give up the baseball.
Your Highness.
And now you're like, oh, I'll just go get more chips and dip. That's
He's
all.
like, yeah, I'm just going to.
It's 2 days in a row,
I'm not
Isaiah.
scraping that.
We're in a different tax bracket here,
Yeah,
okay,
okay.
my friend?
Last year we had the Golden Grounds. The Golden Grounds.
Forgot about the Golden Grounds; those were glorious.
Why did you
like a
bring that
toy,
up?
though.
Why is that?
Wait,
You know how my brain works. You say something, it like triggers off a whole little line of sequence of movies, and you said double dip.
That's fair, and I'm right there. I caught
Yeah.
the reference, Seinfeld reference.
But
That's
okay,
exactly what popped in my
I
head.
don't know why we spent the first 5 minutes of our show talking about whether or not we double dip.
Don't be
I'm
a-
okay with it.
we talked about the Yankees for 10 minutes
did.
yesterday.
We
Don't-
could have
don't be a
talked
sidler,
about it for
Kyle.
45 minutes yesterday.
Kyle, don't be a sidler. Let's keep it real. Don't be a sidler.
Ooh, another Seinfeld reference?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I see you. I see you. I'm not even like a big Seinfeld guy. Really wasn't big on
Used
it.
to be.
Yeah. How we doing, everybody?
How old are you?
Fantastic.
26.
Well, that's why.
Yeah, that's why. I watch Friends and like that 70s show.
Damn
I watched
right you watch
some of the
Friends.
other ones. Yeah. That's all me and Rob watched
Damn
at training
right you
camp
watch
was
Friends.
Friends.
There wasn't much on in the room,
Yeah,
So,
it was Shark Week and Friends. It was a little bit of both.
Pretty much.
Shark Week's overrated.
Yeah. Oh.
Friends is not.
We're not gonna
this is
start that right now.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
That one's that's a risk.
I
touchy
dispute that.
It's almost as bad as your ketchup take.
Hey, I know. Listen,
Or
I know
almost
we're-
as good.
I know we're going to the offense today versus the Rams defense, but before we do that, before we turn the page, turn the page. The question came up about J-Ron Curse and when he presents himself back into the lineup, how does that directly affect Donovan Wilson? Were you guys aware that Donovan Wilson is a top 10 tackler in the NFL right now?
Yes.
Leads this team in tackles.
Doesn't really surprise me, but that's still a
Number
great
7
stat.
in the league right now in tackles.
Number 2 graded.
27 tackles on the year. The number 1 player has 31. So just an interesting conversation about how his snaps
Rob.
might be affected. Do you
Who's
take him
number
off
one?
the
Air
field?
five.
Air five.
Pete
For my
Werner
man
from
Dono.
New
Day
Orleans.
one, Dono. Day one.
Pete Werner from New Orleans.
So the very interesting part about that was we talked about it the other day. I think it was Tuesday that we really dove into the J-Ron Curse and Donovan Wilson side of things. But it's not like the defensive line where you can just rotate. And you get these guys fresh in there. We were talking with Barry Church the other day, and of course somebody who's played safety in the league. I even said that. I was like, why don't you just rotate the guys in and go back and forth? And Barry was like, no. That doesn't work like that. There's a rhythm. There's a chemistry that works from the top of the defense down that's different than if you're just going at somebody because you have to know where to be and when to be there and so on and so forth. So Barry was like, no, you can't really move those guys around enough. So, yeah, it is a question of what happens when Kearse comes back and how does that affect Donovan Wilson in terms of his playing time and the ability to put all three of those guys out on the field, including Hooker.
Well, as much as three safety as they play, I mean, you can play them all together. And one thing that Kearse said yesterday, and by the way, he was full in practice yesterday for the first time since week 1. And basically was saying he's ready to go. That's what it sounds like. And he tweeted that picture of a 3-headed monster, which I actually missed that on Tuesday. And he was referring to the 3 guys, Malik, Hooker, Dono, and himself. And his point was that they all complement each other very, very well. Dono is that big-time hitter, box safety guy, set the tone. Kearse can take out tight ends, and he can kind of do whatever you need him to do. And Malik is that kind of that post safety cover in the middle of the field, and so they really do complement each other very well. I don't think you have a problem here. I mean, if you have a problem, it's a good problem. Yeah. You can play them all together.
I don't think you have a problem at all, even if it's a great problem, because Dan Quinn said himself. He said, don't worry about it. It's more or less it's figured out. And then you harken back to when they all played together in week 1. Kearse started. Donovan Wilson started. They both got a healthy amount of chunk of snaps, rather, with Malik Hooker prior to, Kearse suffering the injury. But it's basically just going back to what that was. You have Kearse, like Rob said. Kearse is the hybrid, right? He's more so that linebacker role. He'll be able to delete tight ends and kind of play a little bit more freely, lower than safety level. You got Dono coming downhill, setting the tone, and, you got Malik Hooker playing the center field role. So, I love Kearse's tweet, the 3-headed monster. It all serves one purpose. So for everyone that's wondering, what about Dono? But also, I wanted to add, you look at, and I'm sure Donovan Wilson's GPS is off the charts from this season. Yeah. And that's why he got some workload management yesterday. So, if in fact Kearse is back, and it sounds like he is going to be back this week, if you did see Donovan Wilson, for whatever reason, if you saw his reps scale back a little bit from 100% to like 89%, it could also go to the Cowboys playing the long game when it comes to Donovan Wilson, because we keep talking about it. It's a long season. You don't want to risk injury to somebody that important, especially considering just last year he battled a couple of injuries. Yeah. So, I think they're playing it wisely, but I think, in Dan Quinn, I trust. So,
who would you guys guess is the second leading tackler
in the league?
In the league,
on Dallas Cowboys,
it's Leighton.
I go to LVE.
Yeah,
Anthony Brown.
Wow, it's kind of wild. How many tackles does he have?
He has 18.
We see you.
Vanderish has 15.
That's sneaky, because I feel like it would be LVE.
That's what I thought so too.
Yeah.
Interesting stats. Okay.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, we can preview
I just
that
thought
later.
That was freaking random as all get out.
Yeah.
That he's in the top 10.
Yeah.
How are you? I'm not surprised by the fact, but it's kind of what we've talked about. We've mentioned him every week. He's either flying around and making plays, but also giving up some plays. And then last week, he kind of put it all together, and he didn't give up anything big either. He was able to tackle well.
Yeah. The other thing Kearse said yesterday was he was asked, is this the best safety group in the league? And what's he going to say? But he said hands down. I mean, he doubled. He was like, I'll put us up against anybody safety to safety. What do you guys think? Is there another group out there that you're like,
Yeah, I think it's arguable, but I could see the argument for them. And especially with me being so close to using the E word on Donovan Wilson. Give me a couple more weeks.
You almost did it.
Yeah, I almost did it. We're almost there. A couple more weeks, and I'll be ready to drop that E word on Donovan Wilson.
Derwin James money.
Yeah.
Contract.
I think he actually has more tackles than Derwin James as I'm looking at it.
Oh. Well, yeah, James, I think, missed a game or two. He's been battling some injuries back and forth.
It's just crazy we're talking about the safety position in these terms, because every year it is like, oh, why didn't they do this? Why didn't they draft this guy? Why didn't they sign this guy? And now they've got 3 guys they feel great about.
Yeah.
Oh, and 2 younger guys that can step up here and get the job done while they're developing. Marquise Bell and help me out, what's my other guy?
Mukwamu.
Yeah. Israel Mukwamu.
Yeah, Mukwamu's probably either him or Bell are probably the odd man out in that scenario whenever Kearse comes back. Especially Bell. I think he's probably in that conversation because he's J-Ron Kearse 2.0. And so putting him back into the fold as Kearse is concerned, then I think Bell would probably be that next guy.
And they also have Tyler Coy developing on the practice squad. I mean, this safety unit is just
Twait like a tiger.
Grand Canyon deep.
Done a really good job of revamping that group over the last couple of years. Any other news and notes, Rob, from yesterday when the Cowboys were back on the field?
Just quick glance at the injury report. 3 guys did not practice on the active roster. Dak, of course, who's still in the rehab group. And, Mike did not rule him out, but he's still not to the point where he's throwing yet. So take that how you want to as far as this week. Jordan Lewis did not practice with that groin injury. And Jake Ferguson.
That's the one.
Keep an eye on him. He did not practice yesterday with a knee injury.
That's the
IRS.
one. Yeah.
Now, Dalton Schultz is full.
That's the one. That's the one.
Keep an eye on that one.
Hendershot's the one.
No. When I say that's the one, I mean that as far as the injury report is concerned.
Yeah,
I mean, we didn't expect that Jordan Lewis would practice. We didn't expect that Dak Prescott would practice, but we did not expect to see Jake Ferguson as a DNP on the injury report. So, I mean, it works for them that Dalton Schultz is back. We don't know if Dalton is necessarily 100% right now, but Peyton Hendershot, as I like to call him, if Ferguson can't go for whatever reason, then, Peyton gets more reps.
I get what you were saying in terms of the injury report, but now I want to go back to what you were saying in terms of you said Hendershot is the one. What did you mean by that? What were you leading on there?
I saw your eyes glisten.
What are you trying to stir up in the corner?
I like his upside.
Okay. As a what?
As a pass-catching tight end.
Absolutely.
He's
Can he block?
Shoot, only one tight end in the room could block right now.
Who is that?
Schultz a little bit.
Maybe. Ferguson can block.
Fergie can block.
Okay.
Fergie can block.
Okay.
When you say block, I put guys in the category of George Kittle and
They're
being guys like
not,
that. So
Not all planets are the same size.
I'm just saying, when you say blocking tight ends, those are the guys I'm going to compare them to.
There's some science for you.
I'm going to
Not all
compare them
planets
to.
are the
It's
same
like saying
size.
somebody's fast. Okay, fast in comparison to who?
I get that.
So I like his
Mars
upside.
matters.
I like his.
May not be Jupiter, but Mars matters.
Pluto's not even a planet.
Pluto, exactly. So far out there. I like his swag. I like his confidence. I like the direction he's going. You look at some of the opportunities that he's had this year. I think he's taken full advantage of them, and I think he's just going to continue to grow and get better.
You know what I love about Hendershot? Aside from I think that he's a prototypical catching tight end, playmaking tight end who just can get separation like a wide receiver. So I love him for that. But I also love his confidence, but I love that he balances it with the humility of knowing what he needs to improve upon. So great question, Kyle, as far as his run blocking period, because I posed the question to him a couple weeks ago, and I told him, I said, hey, you're one of the better separating tight ends that I've seen. What's your assessment of yourself in the blocking game? He said, I can get better. He said, I need to put the work in to do that. And I was kind of taken aback in a great way. I was like, okay, now this is a young guy who gets it, and he knows where he needs to improve, and he's putting in the work for that. And I saw a couple of improved blocks from him over the past couple of weeks. So he's putting in the work, and it's slowly starting to show. You
know what we say on this show. Use PFF only to either back up your point or whenever they're always right. And they're always right in this regard. Jake Ferguson is an 80 grade in terms of blocking. He's an 80 grade. Ferguson that's 8th in the league in terms of tight ends. So PFF's 100% right on that all the way through. Peyton Hendershot, on the other hand, he's a 35 grade, which is like bottom 5 tight ends.
At blocking,
which is that's just not what he's supposed to do. It's not the same thing.
He's Jarwin.
Yeah, he's Blake Jarwin.
Right? He's younger version of Jarwin, and they're looking at Ferg to kind of be more of the what Schultz coming out of college.
Just say it.
Schultz is right in the middle of that, though, by the way.
Let's just say it.
Let you know.
All right, now, Bobby.
Let's just say it.
Yeah.
I like I said, PFF's not always right, but I pulled it up just to see what they had graded wise.
KY. I never doubt
you. They got him up there. Give Jake Ferguson his credit.
Yeah,
no hate on Ferg.
Fergalicious.
He's impressed me from what I thought he would be.
He's Fergalicious.
When he first showed up, I was not a believer.
Fergalicious.
But again, he's a good guy.
Oh my gosh, he's a good guy.
That tandem, as long as that, depending upon what happens with Schultz next in the offseason to come, obviously we'll see. But if the tandem for 23 and beyond is, Fergie and Hendershot, that's basically what the Cowboys were looking for with Schultz, Jarwin, that they didn't get because of the Jarwin injury. So it would be a promising tandem, to say the least.
What?
What are you trying to stir up again?
I didn't say anything. Nothing at all.
You're so subdued, but just chill.
So what you're saying is Dalty needs a big deal in the offseason.
Salty Dolts?
Dalty won't be here next year.
You think so? They could franchise him again.
Say it with the chest, Isaiah.
They won't do it?
I'm just saying it's an option. They just want to keep his rights.
It's also a possibility, but we'll see how
unless Dak comes back and throws him the ball every pass.
And not every pass.
Every pass, like Higbee style?
Exactly.
Yeah.
He'll definitely
Higbee
get
and
his
Cooper
passes.
Kupp.
Cooper Kupp style.
That's the 1-2 punch. All right, let's take our first break. Before we go to break, though, we missed something yesterday.
Yeah, we did.
What's that, Kyle?
Our good friend across the pond, John Nelson, sent us a message on Twitter. I had it written down. I didn't have it in the rundown yesterday, which is a big problem, so I just completely forgot to go to it. But happy belated birthday to Abby. Across the pond.
In London.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, we all responded on Twitter, but I wanted to get it in the show.
Absolutely.
And give a shout out. John's a good friend of ours.
Birthday,
and
Ab.
He's a huge supporter. We love him. We love Abby. And, of course, happy birthday. Hope it was a good one. And here's a little extra gift to keep it going, right?
Absolutely.
She turned 13 yesterday. So there you go.
Happy
All right.
birthday.
When we come back here on Talkin Cowboys, presented by Black Rifle Coffee Company, we preview the Cowboys offense. Can some of these pass catchers have some success against Jalen Ramsey and the Rams secondary? Plus, is this the toughest test for Cooper Rush to this point in the season? We'll answer those questions when we come back right after this.
When you build, you start with the foundation. And home ownership is a foundation of a stable future. The Bank of America Community Home Ownership Commitment has helped over 34,000 people lay the groundwork so far, with up to $10,000 towards your down payment or 3% of the purchase price, whichever is less. The satisfaction of owning your own place can become a reality. Visit bankofamerica.com/homeowner to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America N.A. Equal Housing Lender. Credit and collateral is subject to approval. Restrictions apply. This is not a commitment to lend.
Did you get to work on time?
Yeah, but I just realized it's Sunday.
Little Sweet says head on home. Dr. Pepper's on its way. So sweet, unique. Baby, there's nothing better. I bet you've probably done something that deserves a Dr. Pepper. Did you invest your nest egg in an NFT?
Yeah, and I don't even know what that is. It's a non-fungible token.
Everyone's done something that deserves a Dr. Pepper.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure. It's not complicated.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
Are you ready to take coffee off your grocery list forever? Black Rifle Coffee Club is here to help. As a coffee club member, you'll get your favorite coffees roasted, packaged, and shipped to your door free of charge on your preferred schedule. Set it, forget it, and never run low on coffee again. Members also get exclusive deals on coffee, products, and discounts from partner brands. Ease your mind and let Black Rifle worry about your coffee supply. Go to blackriflecoffee.com to join the coffee club today.
Back to Talkin Cowboys.
Back here on Talking Cowboys, be sure to head to AT&T Stadium on Saturday, October 22nd. Experience Rally Day presented by SeatGeek. Get ready to cheer on your Dallas Cowboys with tours of AT&T Stadium with ticket giveaways, games, inflatables, and a whole lot more. Visit attstadium.com/rallydays for tickets and for more information. Second segment here of Talking Cowboys. Rob Phillips, Isaiah Stanback, Patrick No-C Walker. I'm Kyle Yeomans. Glad you're with us. Is this the toughest test for Cooper Rush to this point in the season, Isaiah? When you look at the film and you see what the Rams are going to bring to the table, I mean, Tampa Bay was tough. Cincinnati was good on the defensive side of the ball. Then you had New York and Washington. Washington had its own challenges. Where does the Rams defensive unit stand in terms of their challenge level to Cooper Rush in this Cowboys offense?
It's a good question, Kyle. I'm not sure if I really know. I think last week was a pretty good test for him in this offense in its entirety. I think in terms of dominant players at each level, this is probably the best test that he's had yet. I think last week the defensive line and that front seven was pretty stout. Obviously the defensive line with the Bama boys were solid. But now you're getting into dominant players at every single level that aren't necessarily playing well collectively, but you know that they can. You hope that they don't figure it out against you, but you have undoubtedly the best defensive lineman in the game right now, or arguably one of the best ever. In Aaron Donald, you go to the next level. You have a little bit older Bobby Wagner, but he still is smart, savvy, strong Bobby Wagner. And then you go obviously to the cornerback, to the secondary, and you have Jalen Ramsey, who is still Jalen Ramsey, and it's not somebody that you want to piss off because if he's not having a good game defensively in terms of being a defensive back and knocking balls down and then sticking with the receivers, then he's probably going to be tackling well, or vice versa. And if you get him on a good day, he's going to be doing both pretty well. So. Yeah. In terms of competitors, like pure competitors, last week we had questions: Are the Bama Bros? Are they friends again? Are they playing together? Like, are they cool today? Are they not? This is a defense that plays together. They like to play together. They like to have fun, and they know that they're the best at what they do. So we'll see. I don't know if it's going to be a collectively better defense, but they definitely have dudes. That he has to account for, especially in the box. And then if you want to throw it out there, you better know where the heck number 5's at.
I think it's going to be the biggest test. I don't think it's an unpassable test, but it's definitely going to be the biggest test. First and foremost, Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald. I mean, you got to account for him. He can wreck games. But walking it back from there, like you said, you have to account for the other superstars. You got a future Hall of Famer in Bobby Wagner. He seems a bit miffed at the moment.
Yep.
Right? And then you have Jalen Ramsey. Now, what I will say about Jalen Ramsey is he's kind of been up and down this season in that I still believe he's Jalen Ramsey, but at the same time, you've seen him get absolutely smoked in coverage for big yardage in big games. But then he bounced back. But then you saw what happened when he was tasked with making the open field tackle on Deebo Samuel. He was like, yeah, not today, right? So we'll see. I mean, he typically bounces back pretty well when he gets miffed. So this would be a bounce back game for Jalen Ramsey. But I think the Cowboys can take advantage of, and Cooper Rush specifically, he can take advantage of the fact that we talked about the offensive line for the Rams having some depth issues. Well, now they have depth issues at safety as well.
Yeah.
Jordan Fuller, hamstring injury, out potentially 2 to 4 weeks, most certainly out for this game. And for those that will look at the depth chart and they say, oh, well, Jordan Fuller, he's a backup. Well, not necessarily because since they've been having depth issues there, I think he played in greater than 50% of the snaps in week 3, almost 80% of the snaps in week 4. So those are starter numbers for the most part. So for the most part, they've kind of lost a starting safety. And Jalen Ramsey struggling, or at least having an up and down season, now he's going to start questioning the guys behind him, because a large part of Jalen Ramsey's game, a large part of a lot of elite cornerbacks' game is the guys behind them playing well. If I trust, as a defensive back, if I trust that the guys behind me are going to get my back if I take this risk or jump this route or whatever the case may be, then I'll play more aggressively. If I don't trust that, I'm going to play more conservatively, and that's going to kind of potentially delete the takeaway aspect of my game. So I think Cooper Rush can take advantage of that.
That's a great point.
Especially with Michael Gallup.
Yeah, for sure.
Segue.
Yeah. Yeah. Before we get to receivers, I would look at the answer is yes, I think so, because of Aaron Donald. I'm with Nosey, and I'm with Isaiah in terms of every level. They've got a guy that is very, very dangerous and complete player. Bobby Wagner comes to mind. Obviously, Jalen Ramsey comes to mind. So I think with Donald, it's not just the obvious. It's that he lines up in different spots. You have to identify him every play. You don't know where he's going to be, and he can absolutely wreck the game. He's got the most tackles for loss of any player, and it's not even close since he came into the league. The Cowboys had six negative runs last week against a really good defensive front. This is a better defensive front overall, in large part because he is so special. He's a Hall of Famer, and
Gaines frees him up too.
Yeah, that's
my UW fan. I know it's UW, but seriously, in all actuality, he does a heck of a job for them, giving Aaron Donald those one-on-one opportunities, because you can't just single Gaines up either.
No, and
yeah, at least Von Miller's not back there too. So that's a positive.
It helps that he's in Buffalo,
right?
But Robinson's good. Obviously, Leonard Floyd is good, and the intangible part of it for me is he is such a leader. Like, you thought about what he did the last drive of the Super Bowl, and what you talked about yesterday, Kyle, how they've never had a negative or a
never had a
record under McVay.
Losing record at any point after week 2.
They're going to be motivated not to lose this football game,
especially at home too.
Right. So, and he's going to be at the forefront of that. So, yeah, I think it's the toughest test.
Yeah, we've talked about it before. I mean, the first time I really remember mentioning it was the Chargers game in week 2 of last year, where you had guys at every level, and that was they had like Kenneth Murray and then Derwin James and of course Bosa up front. Here, it's guys at every level. Outside of that, they've got some sprinkled role guys like a Floyd and a Gaines that kind of help those big time stars have an opportunity to be successful. I think Ramsey's had a good season to this point. He's had his ups and his downs, but so does every corner in the NFL. Trayvon Diggs has got his ups and downs, and yet he's still got 2 picks. He's playing better than, I think, fundamentally than he did last year when he had 11 picks. So I think Ramsey's still Ramsey, and he's going to be really good. What is the matchup going to look like, though, Rob, when you look at Michael Gallup and CeeDee Lamb? Who are they going to face? Where are they going to be? And how can they have some success against Ramsey in that secondary if they are going to test it over the top and try and push that safety depth a little bit like Patrick was just talking about? Is that Michael Gallup open things up, or is that a CeeDee Lamb underneath and then yards after the catch?
I'm curious how much they can go over the top, just because I think they're going to have to get the ball out fast. I mean, but I think what you just said. I mean, I think Gallup creates that opportunities for them, especially if they can get something going in the run game. That's the one thing they were able to do was be persistent with the run and then create some things over the top against Washington. So, and I'm curious to see if Gallup kind of takes another step like this week. He talked about how he felt pretty good after the game, and I wonder what that does just internally for his confidence in this game as well.
I think his confidence is pretty up there after what he was able to do for the Cowboys.
It was high on Sunday, wasn't it?
It was high. And he felt much better mentally going in. He's already felt, very well physically. But, to get that touchdown and then to impact the game with those 2 downfield penalties called against the Commanders that helped extend Cowboys drives. And I kind of had a one-off walking conversation with Michael Gallup before the locker room opened up yesterday as they were coming off the practice field. And just jokingly, I was like, hey, you feel like 100 yards on Sunday? He was like, absolutely. I would have had it on last week if they weren't holding me all the time. See, there we go, Michael. See, that's the kind of mentality that Gallup is walking into. He feels like he's starting to feel again like he is Michael Gallup, that they can't stop him, that they have to hold him to keep him from getting the 100-yard games, et cetera, et cetera. So the swagger is if it's not entirely back, let's say 98% back. And then now you're looking at, again, Jordan Fuller is going to miss, so they have some safety issues.
Yeah.
But you got CeeDee Lamb, and you don't know if Jalen's going to be asked to shadow either one of them, but let's say he's asked to shadow CeeDee Lamb, right? Troy Hill, who is a capable corner, but is he capable of keeping Michael Gallup from breaking the game open? Noah Brown will play. He was a full participant in practice. Mm-hmm. We need to make sure that fans know that as well, which is key. So that opens it up as a third receiver. Do the Rams have the personnel? Because we know Ramsey, he can be Ramsey. Troy Hill is capable, but the question is, can he hang with a confident and fully healthy Michael Gallup? But then it trickles down to Noah Brown as well. This could be a big game for Noah Brown simply because the Rams are running out of horses when you start matching up personnel for personnel. So, again, huge test, biggest test of the season thus far for Cooper Rush, if you ask me. But, the Rams secondary, it can be had.
How do they get after him?
They have to beat them in zone. I don't think the Rams aren't playing much man-to-man right now. They're playing a lot of zone. So, to the point of Rob P., you got to get the ball out, and you're going to have to be very strategic as far as identifying what zone they're in, finding the holes in the zone, and making sure that you're not sitting on your back leg as Cooper Rush trying to wait for guys to get open. You're going to have to get to those spots relatively quickly because, as you mentioned, Aaron Donald will correct the game. Mm-hmm. Those guys can't. They're going to be at home. Their back's against the wall. They're dangerous. Yeah. I mean, it just is what it is. You're not talking about a team that was good a couple years ago. These guys are trying to remember who the heck they were last year, and it wasn't that doggone long ago. I mean, these guys earned the ring, 7 months ago? Mm-hmm. 8 months ago. So they're trying to remember who they were, get that spark back, and it takes a couple plays. It takes a couple plays to get your swag back. That's all it takes in the league. And a lot of guys are trying to find that right now. Michael Gallup found that last week. He was like, okay, I got my swag. Oh, cool. You saw the little shake the shoulders a little bit. Okay, I'm back. That's all he needed. Yeah. He needed that play. He needed that touchdown to say, okay, I'm back. Now he feels confident. Same thing with Aaron Donald and the rest of these boys. These guys go out there and you let them make a couple plays, they're going to be like, okay. Yeah, they're gonna look at each other, but yeah, we still got that thing. So you try your best not to allow them to get that. But I think Dallas is gonna face a ton of zone, and they're gonna allow Aaron Donald and Floyd and these boys to try to go take advantage of some of these guys on the offensive front.
And the offensive line is going to have to stand up strong, too, to allow Cooper Rush to get the football down the field and be able to push it a little bit. I want to talk about that on the other side of the break. How much confidence do you have in this offensive line over the last 3 weeks? Is it different than the first 2 weeks of the season? Or is it much of the same, but we're just patching some holes at the moment? Because we've got more to come on the other side of the break. Talking Cowboys, presented by Black Rifle Coffee Company.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure. It's not complicated.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
Black Rifle Coffee Company serves premium coffee to people who love America. When you drink Black Rifle coffee, you are directly supporting veterans, law enforcement, and first responders in your community. Black Rifle's expert roasters love coffee almost as much as Texas loves football, so it makes sense that America's Coffee partnered with America's team. Go online at blackriflecoffee.com and fuel up with the official coffee of the Dallas Cowboys. That's blackriflecoffee.com to fuel up today.
This sweet! Did you get to work on time?
Yeah, but I just realized it's Sunday.
Little Sweet says head on home. Dr. Pepper's on its way. So sweet, unique. Baby, there's nothing better. I bet you've probably done something that deserves a Dr. Pepper. Did you invest your nest egg in an NFT?
Yeah, and I don't even know what that is. It's a non-fungible token.
Everyone's done something that deserves a Dr. Pepper.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys? Jack Black. Right now you can get the Jack Black Starter, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The starter includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites plus a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Go to getjackblack.com/cowboys and use the code word TEAMJB. That's getjackblack.com/cowboys. The Jack Black Starter, $10, free shipping.
Back to Talkin' Cowboys.
Whether you're watching from home or you're cheering in the stands, with Essilor lenses, you can see every exciting play. Book an appointment at your local Essilor experts and see what Essilor can do for you. See more, do more. Essilor on Talking Cowboys. It's a marketing scheme.
Thanks for greasing this up, Beamer. I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's great. It's a marketing scheme, and I don't really love giving attention to it, but I can't help but mention the whole first part of that just reminded me of what the Smile movie continues to do, like with sporting events across the way.
We talked about Smile.
That horror movie or whatever's coming out. I don't even want to pub it because it's marketing and we're falling into their hands.
Smart.
That's what that reminded me of.
The movie's probably trash, but
the marketing is fantastic.
Marketing's fantastic. When's the last time you saw a good horror film, like a real?
Don't get me started on horror.
This is No C's wheelhouse right here.
Yeah, so
let's not go down that road.
Don't open that Pandora's box. We don't have enough time.
I know.
I don't like horror movies.
They're all funny. They make me laugh.
Yeah, that's exactly why. Because I don't take it seriously.
Freddie was real.
I think it's hilarious.
Okay, well that's a good start because Freddie is the GOAT.
There's a couple of them that are really good. There's a couple of them that are like, oh my gosh, actually I felt scared. But the other times it's like, what are we doing?
Were you ever afraid?
Wait, are we sectioning this off by generation though? Because the newer ones are much more like
trash.
What is this? But when you start talking about the legends like the Freddie and the Myers,
I didn't want to go to sleep.
Voorhees and the original Child's Play, not remakes where he has Bluetooth enabled.
We're gonna have to segment it.
I agree.
By generation, but also by movie. I mean, I think it's a case by case because there's some good new ones too. I mean, a little bit.
Yeah, I can point out some that you guys probably haven't really heard of. That'll have you up all night.
Ooh, a little back end stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah. Are we doing Haunted House this year?
Encanto. Are we gonna do it?
Are we gonna do it? I know he's game.
I would do it.
You do it?
I already told you I would.
Rob, he's in.
Let's go, Rob's in.
Let's freaking go, Beamer.
Let's go,
Beamer.
We didn't get that last year.
Yeah.
Beamer, are you in?
For what?
A haunted house.
Yeah, I'll go.
Let's freaking go.
Wow. Let's go. 5 for 5. That's going to be some great Twitter content.
How about that? Last year I got freaking shot down, and now I got the freaking run the table.
I'm for all of that. Horror movies, haunted houses.
Let's go.
Heckma was not into it last year at all.
And you guys went with him.
I was ready to go. I told you I would go with you.
Hey, let's go, man.
I got you.
We're going to hit it up. We're going to make it happen. Talking Cowboys, haunted house style. Yes. If you want to join us, just
we have to
come
record this. Somebody
if you
we'll make it
have a haunted house.
Do a Blair Witch
Yeah,
style,
there you go.
It better make me
Beamer, talk to legal, see how we can get this on film.
I get so disappointed when haunted houses don't actually.
Have you ever
scare
swung
me.
on somebody in a haunted house?
No,
I have.
I haven't done that one.
Like it was
Almost. I've squared up. I've squared up. Yeah, I've squared up.
They touched me. Fair game. Fair game.
They're not supposed to touch you.
They're not supposed to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Don't you sneak up to me like that.
You can sneak up on me. Don't touch me.
There's one in particular that haunted house in New Orleans. That's
getting
quite
real.
literally
I'm not
attached to
fooling with nothing like that.
a real cemetery. And
some of them you have to sign waivers.
You have to sign a waiver for that.
See,
I highly recommend it.
The best one I've done was in London. We did the London game when I was playing for New England, and I went with Merriweather and Will Hyde.
Oh,
dude, we got in a fight.
The right energy for that.
Actors.
They crossed the line.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You remember Brandon Merriweather, safety? Yeah. Somebody reached over and touched him like from the top of the cage, and he two-pieced him in the face.
Oh.
And the rest of the time we went through the haunted house, they were like, "Don't hit us! Don't hit us!"
Gave him the
It was hilarious. I loved it.
The two-piece and the biscuit.
Oh man. Okay, well it's October 6th.
You're too close,
talking about this.
Yeah,
we've got a whole month.
You're too close, man.
Let's talk about it. All right, offensive line confidence meter right now. Patrick Walker, where is your confidence meter for the Cowboys offensive front, especially going up against the Rams?
Are we scaling 1 to 10?
Yeah.
Well, that's two different things. Confidence in
them
versus confidence in them going against the
give
Rams.
me confidence in them, period.
Confidence in them, period, with Jason Peters in the mix.
Sure.
Tyler Smith playing like he's playing. Questions on Tyler. Yeah,
How many snaps did he have?
I'd say a solid 8.
Well, it sounded like you wanted to say 7.
I was going to say 7. I gave him 8. I gave him extra credit. I gave him 8.
Why is that?
Because Tyler is a rookie and he's playing out of his mind. And,
playing really well.
And Jason Peters looks like he's going to be ramping up to start left guard here soon, hopefully. Now.
You only got 6 more snaps, right?
Right. Second, got 1.5 times more snaps. 7 snaps to
perspective
percentages.
But the second part of this is my confidence in them going against Aaron Donald and those guys. Okay, well then it drops down to a 6. Right? It drops down to a 6 because Aaron Donald is Aaron Donald. We talk about Leonard Floyd and some of these other guys. And my question mark is not on Tyler Smith. He still has some things to prove, but he's proven enough for me to be confident in him.
Who's making your scale drop?
McGovern.
Okay, so you think Aaron Donald's going to line up against McGovern?
No. I think that if McGovern starts, because McGovern was an unexpected appearance last week, and he's coming. He, like McCarthy said, he did kind of play like he was coming off of a high ankle sprain. He didn't have his anchor set, and so if the Cowboys are going to start McGovern again this week, and we'll find out. But if that's the case, then McVay is going to target that. So,
ask you a more specific question.
Yeah,
what's your confidence meter with Aaron Donald versus Zach Martin?
Zach is Zach. I mean, that's the unstoppable force versus the immovable object.
Is that a 10?
And I'm taking the immovable object in Zach Martin.
Is that a 10?
That's in Zach Martin? 9.8. 9.8. Because Aaron is still Aaron, so I'm not going to.
Yeah, I'd probably say an 8.
Yeah, I'm not going to disrespect Aaron like that. But Zach is Zach. That is quite literally like.
So Zach's winning 7 out of 10. 8 out of 10 to your.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I would say that's about right.
I'd down that hill. Because if after the game it turns out that's not the case, I still wouldn't regret it because it's Zach Martin. And I know that that's Aaron freaking Donald. Again, a movable object, unstoppable force, something has to give.
Do you think Zach Martin wouldn't win 8 of 10 battles?
I think about it when you look at it. We're talking about perspective.
Yeah.
Aaron Donald, greatest defensive lineman ever?
He's up there.
He's in the conversation.
Zach Martin, greatest offensive lineman ever?
He's not named Larry Allen.
He's going to be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
I know that.
Not named Larry Allen.
So I'm just saying, you look at the best,
not named
arguably
Larry
the best
Allen.
defensive lineman ever versus a really good offensive lineman.
Yeah, 2 future Hall of Famers.
You got to say more than really good.
Okay, but we can't.
Like I said,
but you can't put him in.
Outside of Larry Allen.
Are you okay?
I'd give it outside of Larry Allen. I could argue that it would be Zach Martin.
I just can't give it to him 8 out of 10.
I love
Zach's
the
not even
confidence.
done.
I don't know if I'm that high on it.
I can't give him 8 out of 10.
Really, I'm
I'm gonna give them 50-50. I give it 5.
You call it a stalemate.
I call it a stalemate.
That scares me.
Aaron Donald wins some, Zach Martin wins some.
That's kind of the history of their matchups. So to me, anytime you play Aaron Donald, it's a coin flip. Yeah. No matter who it is.
Yeah. But so would you say 5 too, or 50?
I'm not gonna go. I'm gonna go higher than 5 because it's Zach. But I don't have great confidence against anybody against Aaron Donald on a consistent basis because he's too dangerous.
So how can you give Zach the?
Zach is the only one I have.
I didn't give him the
have
advantage.
a ton of
You said you would go higher than 5?
Fine, I'll go 5. I'll go 5.
No, Zach is the only one I have a ton of confidence in.
I have a ton of confidence in him too, but it's still Aaron Donald.
Right. And that's why I didn't say a 10.
But it's a 5 against Aaron Donald against Zach Martin. But the problem is though that he's not going to be. They're going to move him around. They're going to put him on the edge.
What's
they're
on
going to put him on the
Which goes to my point.
So,
if McGovern is the starter, then they're going to target McGovern and Biadish, and that's why I'm hoping that Jason Peters is ramped up fully enough to the point where he can start this game, because now you're talking about a Hall of Famer there.
I agree.
Versus a Hall of Famer.
I agree.
Aaron Donald.
No matter what side he wants to go to, he has to face somebody real.
Right.
No doubt.
I wonder when we talked about that. I don't know.
It's crazy.
I can't remember that.
Some guy said it.
Yeah, somebody said that early on.
Some Mariners fan.
So, first off, I think that's a great question. Who do you think wins more battles? Give us, send it to us on Twitter. I mean, at I am Standback, at Rob Phillips, at Voice of the Star, at Kyle_Yeomans. Tap into the conversation because I'm really interested in what you guys think there too. Because we have confidence in Zach Martin. That's not the confidence meter. That's not the kicker. It's just how good Aaron Donald is. So how do you scheme around him? Is there a way to scheme around him?
It's almost like he decides when he wants to make a play.
Yeah, he says okay, this is about time.
Right, you get I get that sense. It's not to say that somebody's not playing as hard as they can, but it's like there's some plays where he's just like, okay, I'm gonna do this. That's my responsibility. And then there's other plays he's like, oh, we need to play. All right,
here I am.
You can't really.
It's just
but Micah
front
does the
side
same thing.
And we'll see it in film room, and it's just like. Sometimes there's plays that you get him to go backside on a play, and you wall him off, and you're like, oh, I did my job as offensive lineman. I made him go backside. And he's like, not so fast, my friend. Swerve on you, and he just freaking makes the tackle. Or he runs down the backside of the line if you think you had him on the backside, and he still grabs the ankles of your running back. He just walks back to the huddle. It wasn't a big hit, wasn't anything like that, but he still impacted that play in a tremendous way. And then you have the big plays where it's just like, oh, my God. Mm-hmm. Why did he just do that to that guy? He just disrespected him. He's always going to have those.
Yeah.
He's dangerous. He's a beast. And I know there's a lot of people that are homers and big time, and I get it. Rep your team, rep the Cowboys, all that jazz. But I'm saying, come on now.
Yeah.
Let's be realistic about what you're about to deal with here.
Which is what my answer to that is you can't scheme to stop Aaron Donald.
No.
It's not a thing.
Can they move him around?
But you can scheme to slow him down.
Can you?
Yes, you can. Because if you start enacting, if you can be effective at burning the edges on your runs, if you can be effective at some quick bubbles and things like that, which you can then treat as like quasi, run plays and things like that, then you're now having him. You're kind of giving up the middle because you're like, okay, we're letting you in so we can attack these edges. And
but he plays DN too.
But eventually. In certain sets, he does. You're right. But then what my point is, that's going to slow him down from pinning his ears back to going after rush. And then that starts to impact itself over and over again in the game, and it builds. So now Aaron Donald, bubble, quick out, bubble, edge burn, and run plays wise. Sooner or later, he starts to say, okay, well, they're not just going to let me just tee off on this guy, so I'm going to play a little bit laterally more. Okay, well, now that he's playing a little bit laterally, he's cheating laterally, run up the middle. And then now he's like, oh, okay, I'm ready. They're running up the middle. I'm going to get back in here, 3-tech, and I'm ready to go. And then burn it again. It's
sounds
slowing
good.
him. But right, of course, it sounds good.
Yeah.
This is how you scheme to do it. You can't scheme to stop him, but you can scheme to keep him off balance.
Sure.
And then it comes to the execution. Now, once you have him off balance, if you can get him off balance, now you have to make sure you execute and create these lanes and take advantage of it and then set up for the downfield playing things like that.
I would agree if he stayed in one spot.
Right, fair enough.
If he stayed in one spot, I would agree with you.
Fair enough.
But the fact is, every time you break the huddle with your scheme to go against him, right, you're in your head, this play is for him playing at a defensive end. All right, boom, break the huddle. Crap, he's at tackle. You know what I'm saying? Or crap, he's backside. So that's why I'm saying, you can't.
That goes to Cooper Rush as far as how much freedom does Cooper Rush have to recognize pre-snap and say, okay, well, we're going to scheme him going into the game as the 3 or the nose or whatever, but they came out of the huddle with him at the 5. How much freedom does Cooper Rush have to say, okay, check out of this et cetera, et cetera.
They say that he's got about this. I don't know if he has the same amount as Dak, but a considerable amount. And that's one thing the 49ers talked about after the game on Monday night was they would change pre-snap if they see him, identify him first, and then maybe we're going a different direction.
So you're not identifying the safeties, you're identifying Aaron Donald.
Which goes back to, this is the biggest test for Cooper Rush of the season.
Yeah. I mean,
I agree with that.
I think it is. To this point, this is the toughest test. Maybe the toughest test of his starting career. I mean, going even more so than that Minnesota defense last year. This is the test for Cooper Rush.
I worry about him this game.
Cooper,
especially coming off of the 2 non-interceptions of last week. Mm-hmm. We saw what the interior defensive rush did to him and his focus last week and his ability to deliver good balls. He delivered some good balls, but he had some errant throws as well because he had happy feet. We talked about it in there. He was sitting. Yeah. He was throwing off his back leg. He wasn't transferring his weight.
After the pick.
Absolutely. Both picks.
Would be picks were off his back foot.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's because of the internal pressure from the Bama boys. Okay, so now you have Aaron Donald. So where's his focus? Is he going to be looking at the defensive line, or is he going to be looking at the secondary reading coverages? Mm-hmm. That's what I worry about with Cooper Rush.
Ooh, I want to dive deeper into that tomorrow.
5%.
I think say it with your chest Friday is going to be a whole lot of fun.
Ooh, Kim, I got to do some push-ups.
We got to got to get some in there, man. We've got predictions tomorrow. You can give us a call, be a part of the Fan Pick'em segment, 888-855-2297. We'll give you your matchups. We'll tell you how you can win some money on DraftKings. We've got a whole big mess of stuff tomorrow. Get in there and get ready.
And tweet to us, at all of us, which haunted house we should go to.
Yeah. Yeah, let us know what haunted house. And we'll,
I'm so excited
make
about
sure
this.
it's good. Because
this is good.
Peer pressure.
Don't wear white. Don't wear your tidy whiteies.
Bourgeois about my horror and haunted. So please make sure it's good because I nitpick and I need to be. Scare me, please.
There you go.
Like, if I want to go to a comedy show, I'll go to a comedy show. Like, I paid to be scared. So
challenges out there.
Scare me.
I didn't say that.
There's a lot of Talking Cowboys listeners.
Rob, he's going to be in the middle holding on everybody's shoulders.
Yeah. Just go light on me.
That's a good way to end this show, gentlemen. For Chris Beam, for Rob Phillips, for Isaiah Stanback, Patrick Nosey Walker, I'm Kyle Yeoman saying so long. Special thanks to our friends at Black Rifle Coffee Company. We'll see you tomorrow on Talking Cowboys.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about